Today is currently October 30th, 2025, and I'm just about to upload this video. I mean, you would say it's kind of interesting that I'm coming back on Halloween, ooh, scary and stuff. But the one thing I want to say before I really start off this video is, I sense that there's probably a lot of music listeners in my audience. And if you're that guy who listens to everything, consider adding these songs to your playlist. Just like the good boy you've been. I'm not referring to anyone here, but if I was hypothetically, I would say, come on, buddy, just get out the tank. So, it's been quite a long time, and I'm not dead. I guess I can kind of discuss why I was gone for so long. So, I guess to start, my scripts and ideas got way too ambitious. I mean, I had a bunch of ideas of, products that are almost done and completed scripts, and that got quite hefty for me, and I had all these, grand ideas that never panned out. I guess if you want an example, think of, that one Brian guy, what's his name? Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys is, I guess, what I'm thinking of, or kind of what I'm comparing myself to. Just like the guy had all these grand ambitions, and then got sent to a mental hospital, if I'm not wrong. And two, the incident, which we will never forget. So before I took a long break from making videos, I was out eating dinner with a person. We were talking about a whole bunch of other things like our lives and stuff, and then the topic slowly floated over to my YouTube channel. And this person said something like, I don't think you'll ever be successful on YouTube, but it's fun to do. Thanks a lot, bub. But I mean, I took this quite hard for a while, and this is also another reason why I did take my break. That break being what's that, 2.5 years, a year and a half? But quite a long time still for me. And I remember, I want to say a few weeks ago, from the recording of this video, which is currently on Sunday, October 26, 2025. I realized I still had quite the audience that appreciated whatever I posted, even if it was 3 to 4 viewers. So, I mean, it means quite a lot to me, I guess, the fact that, I could post something and there's going to be people that are, willing to consume it. I don't, for me, I never really did it for fame or just, whatever. It's just, like, I don't care if my video gets, 80 views or, 18 million views. If I can, entertain or make someone's day, that's all that really matters to me. And I mean, for me, I started uploading videos just to talk about whatever I wanted to talk about, and as I said before, I'm not really interested in success, and I don't make it purely for success. That's not why I upload. And I mean, I don't know if I should really take this guy's information, as he is quite a silly little man who is losing a competition he doesn't even know he's a part of. And I guess kind of the last reason I haven't really been uploading in a while is I haven't got a decent device to make any videos anymore. So my original PC just kind of gave out after almost 10 years. Lost a lot of my files and stuff, and a whole bunch of things I didn't have backed up on my phone, as an example. So I'm currently using a old backup PC to work on this video. But I'm back making videos. I'll actually get into it, and I guess I'll tell you why I'm making this video. School project. This is for a school project. Now let's get right into the video. Let me tell you this. In the year of 1982, one madman bit the head off a bat, peed on the Alamo, had a plane fly into his tour bus, and lived to tell the tale, and he released an album that topped the charts and went platinum, at least in the US. And that man is a man you may have heard of, and his name is Ozzy Osbourne. One could say he is quite the character, and, the fact he lived as long as he did and did all the things he did is really quite impressive. And if you don't know who he is, to put it simply, he's an English heavy metal singer. We'll get more into that later. But anyways, I mean, his backstory is even more interesting. A former slaughterhouse worker who wanted to escape factory life joined a band with very limited experience and brought the band into success and invented a new genre of music, that being heavy metal. Now I'll get more into that. Heavy metal, to put it simply, is say hard rock, like AC/DC or Bon Jovi, but just more dark and scary, one could say. For example, subjects being about substances, the devil, or real world issues like the Vietnam War. Anyways, going back to the little intro. After inventing this new genre of music, that being heavy metal, he got kicked out of the band he helped found, and that band was Black Sabbath, the first and best heavy metal band. So after he got kicked out, he started his own solo career and gained more popularity and success compared to his former days in Black Sabbath. I mean, that's a simplified retelling of his early days in Black Sabbath and the start of his solo career in the 80s. I mean, there's much more that could be said, but that's a topic for a different day. And by different day, I mean different video. And one of Ozzy's albums is the subject of the video you are currently watching right now. And that well, Speak of the Devil. That is the album I'm currently reviewing for you on this video. So now, some of you may be wondering, what is a Speak of the Devil? Well, let me tell you right now. Speak of the Devil is a live album released in November of 1982 and recorded in the Ritz Club in New York City over a 2-day period from September 26th to the 27th of 1982. I mean, what's so special about it, you may be saying, and like, it's just an Ozzy live album. Well, let me tell you here that this live album is special because it's Ozzy covering Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath being the band he was formerly in and founded. And, you know, I guess the one thing to start off with when it comes to talking about albums, or I guess in this case, a live album, is the track listing. And I would say the track listing is one of the best of all time. I mean, the songs on the album can be broken down into two like general categories. You have the most popular songs by Black Sabbath, like Paranoid, Iron Man, and War Pigs. And then on the other side of the coin, you have Symptom of the Universe, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, Never Say Die, and The Wizards, which can be categorized as songs that weren't played live as often and are not well known. But one thing to note is the song Sabbath Bloody Sabbath on this album was not recorded live during either dates. And let me tell you a little bit about that. So to put it simply, the album was made on a really, really small budget. If I can find it, I'll put it right there. Well, it's maybe kind of small if I can find it. Not like that. But anyways, as I mentioned before, the budget was really, really small, and there was one extra show done on one of the days, either the 26th or the 27th. And the extra show had no audience and was recorded live, and it was done just in case the shows over the 2 dates sucked. So it is at least confirmed, or it's at least assumed, that Sabbath Bloody Sabbath was not played live. And it was not played live, as here's the set list for both nights. No Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. And at least 2 of the songs in the album were not recorded live. So, you know what, if you're ever bored one day, well, not one day, let's just say over an entire weekend, you really have free time to kill, and you think back to this video, remember, you can listen to this album and try to find the 2 other tracks that have fake audience recordings. And now, I think for me, it's strange to have fake live tracks and try to pass them off as real. I mean, it's one thing when you have albums, for example, like Kiss Alive, or that one Pantera album, or live album at least. And I guess a few other examples right here. Those had live recordings of, you know, the actual band, and then you had new songs recorded by them in the studio. But then with Speak of the Devil, it's supposed to be a live album. Like a live album, no like extra studio recordings, just live. And, you know, the fact that it's kind of faked does ruin my enjoyment of this album. But I'd say even with that, the songs are quite well selected and played quite well. I'll get more into the played well part later. I mean, if you look at the track listing, which will be, again, right here, you can see that there's at least one song from almost every album that Ozzy did with Black Sabbath. And, you know, I think the track listing can also appeal to, like, almost every, like, fan or, like, listener. Whether you're just getting into Sabbath, never heard of them, or, like, a diehard fan. I think you, listener, are bound to find something you'd like on this album. And I would say, you know, as a diehard fan, this track listing partly reminds me of what Ozzy played during the final tour with Black Sabbath in 1978. Song-wise, at least, not order-wise. And the track listing isn't the only thing that makes or break the album. Going on, do rock and roll and stuff. The band members involved also matter when discussing albums. This lineup of Ozzy's solo band is one of the best and pretty underrated. So, starting off, on lead vocals and harmonica for the song The Wizard, you have the man, the myth, the legend, Ozzy Osbourne. I mean, to me and many others, he is one of the greatest frontmen to ever lead a band. Ozzy does more than just go up on stage, sing, and leave. He can interact with the crowd, talk to them, and get them excited. Ozzy's stage presence is pretty legendary. This being the example. Oh, okay, maybe that doesn't look too good. But on guitar, you have Brad Gillis of the band Night Ranger. Gillis, before joining Ozzy's band, was in a band called Rubicon, which is more like a funk rock band, and he was in an early version of the band that would become Night Ranger. Originally on this album, Randy Rhoads was supposed to be the guitarist recording on this album, but unfortunately, Randy died in a plane crash in 1982, and Gillis was brought in to replace him after a few stints with other guitarists. And how does Gillis do? Well, let me tell you this. Randy Rhoads, if you don't know, is one of the greatest guitarists to ever live. And surprisingly, Brad does quite well filling in the shoes of Randy. I mean, here's the example I will play right now. That clip, I probably covered the entire screen, but that clip showed it quite well. So next on bass is Rudy Sarzo of Quiet Riot and Whitesnake, among many other bands. Interestingly enough, Randy Rhoads and Rudy Sarzo were both in Quiet Riot before joining Ozzy's band. But I mean, what could be said about the bass player? Nothing much. Trust me, I would know. I guess to put it simply, he's a good bass player. He's able to keep the band together, and what more could be said? Finally, on drums, is Tommy Aldridge of Whitesnake and Gary Moore, among many other bands. Before joining Ozzy's band, Aldridge had played in a few small bands before joining up with Gary Moore for a little bit, and then Ozzy. I mean, he's perfect. Enough said. So, why am I discussing this? Well, let me tell you this. Something that all the band members have in common is they were all in rock or metal bands and had great amount of musical experience. Although this lineup didn't last long after the recording of this album and not talked as much, the lineup was well put together, and I like it. Going on to the next subject is the way the album sounds is also quite important when talking about it. And to me, the album sounds quite right, or just right, is what I meant to say. It gives a glimpse into what it was like to be one of Ozzy's concerts around this time, and going on to how it just sounds in general. You have vocals, which the vocal stylings are a lot better than the last time Ozzy had performed it with Black Sabbath. Here's a recording of that. But also listening to it, you can hear that Ozzy has more vocal stylings of his solo albums. But I mean, it's not bad. It works quite well. Going on to guitars, has a mix of Randy Rhoads and Brad Gillis' signature style, but still stays true to Tony Iommi's original riffs. He's this guy, by the way. The bass can actually be heard all throughout the album. And unlike other live albums or just albums in general where the bass is snubbed out, you can hear it. I heard it quite well, with and without headphones. And to me, it has this really thick and thunderous sound. And as a bass player, I do like it. Going on to drums, the best way to describe them is they're hard and heavy hitting, unforgiving, and it has more stylings of glam metal or arena rock of the day. And if you want to hear, here's a comparison. So another thing to point out about live album is crowd noises. Of course, when you go to a concert, you are probably going to hear crowd noises. But on a live album, that's probably one of the things you don't want to hear as much compared to everything else. And crowd noises, whether they're faked or not, can be heard, but it's not like overpowering everything else. Speaking of improvisations are made all throughout the album and live albums in general, and I think these ones work pretty well. I mean, there's at least a few improvisations in like almost every song, so here's a few recordings of that right there, or now is what I meant to say. So as I mentioned before, they worked surprisingly well and it spices things up. Going on after that is, one of my main issues is the fact that it does sound like the band kind of struggles at some parts. And I mean, going into that, the band members had only 5 days to rehearse 13 songs. 13 songs that some of them barely even knew or knew quite well. And Ozzy, for rehearsals, did not show up, and it shows on the album. He had a hard time remembering the lyrics, and it just got to the point where he had to bring a notebook onto stage and with all the lyrics and just like write it out. And the band was also not told to practice songs like Iron Man, Paranoid, Children of the Grave, otherwise known as the most popular Sabbath songs. At the last minute, these songs were added to the set list, and if you couldn't tell, they didn't really sound too good, but it was still put on the album anyways. But still, after all that, the band still is able to hold together. They don't completely fall apart. And they sound pretty tight for only having played for a few months, or in this case, it would be a few days with the Sabbath songs. And the reason why that Children of the Grave, Iron Man, Paranoid was not supposed to be played live was due to the fact that different recordings would be used with Randy Rhoads. And I guess going on to more positive things, one major thing that could be talked about is like the heaviness of this album. Now most of the songs are tuned differently compared to their original studio recordings. Now, what does that mean? Well, songs can sound different depending on like how the instruments are tuned. Here's an example of the same song being played in 3 different tunings right now. In this case, songs are tuned down and it gives them a more like heavy sound, and it works because it's heavy metal. Symptom of the Universe, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath show that quite well. Although some of the songs are played in their standard tunings, for example, Paranoid and Iron Man are played in their standard tunings. Going on after that. So, now, why do people buy live albums? I mean, to one thing, people just want to listen to different versions of the same studio recorded songs, and the live album offers something different to the listener. And does it work in this case? The answer is yes. You do get something different from listening to this album. I mean, I've listened to this album for quite a long time now, and anytime I like listen to this album and then listen to the original studio recordings, to be truthful with you, I do get really disappointed with how the studio recordings sound compared to this live album. And I think that just shows like how like great the sound is, at least to me and many others. Going on to the end. It's ending time. So to end this off, Speak of the Devil is one of the greatest metal live albums of all time. The track listing, band members, and the sound show that quite well. Although this may not be the best live album out there compared to Made in Japan or If You Want Blood, You Got It, it's still like, it sounds good to me, and it's like important to me in like many ways, and probably many others. I believe the album is worth listening to from like start to finish. Another thing I like to say is, physically, the album is no longer in print. I mean, for me, I got this at a CD shop, for, I don't know, I want to say around like 10 freedom bucks. It was worth it. It was really worth it. It was probably like the greatest Christmas present I ever got for myself. And, I guess the reason why it's really not like printed anymore is due to the fact that Ozzy just owns the album and calls it a filler album, and it's bad. But I mean, as I mentioned before, for me and many others, this album still sounds good, and it's holds a special place in like my mind and like I guess just like the history of like Ozzy and Sabbath. Well, for you, viewer, I have something to tell you. You, yes, you should listen to this album. I can't open it. Give me a second. The proof. But yeah, listen to this album. It is good. I mean, if you don't want to get it physically, you can listen to it online. I could probably put a a real link in the description. Because after all, we do live in the 21st century. To all my loyal viewers, I will see you in a couple of weeks. Thump. Randy died tragically in a plane. I'll probably just make a cut there because I think I'm really close to getting done. Bonus! Wow, I see you stuck around. So right now you're currently listening to bonus content that is not on my school project, along with the intro and outro, which are also not on my school project. At least I think they are. So, as I mentioned before this, I did have an idea to review this album, the Speak of the Devil album, but I didn't have I had the idea, I was working on the video for a while, but then I just kind of stopped. I mean, again, as I mentioned before, just all those factors just kind of took a toll on me. But anyways, now that I have to do this for a school project, I will now show you what I have. So right here, the booklet, little booklet for the CD. I mean, so when I got it, it was like this, and I freaking hate these Ozzy covers because I mean, yeah, it's cool. It's like I do this record on one compact disc, but it's like come on, it's like you ruined the original album. So our album art, so I just fold it like this, and this would have been on the back of the original record, I believe, and the track listing would have been in the corners. So if I'm not wrong, yeah, Rudy Sarzo here, Ozzy Osbourne. I want to say Brad Gillis and Tommy Aldridge. You can see that they aren't really professionally dressed as they would be. I mean, Ozzy just has a pair of sweatpants here, not anything, not his theatrical attire. So looking at here, I also have an original insert for official Ozzy Osbourne merchandise. Has all that too. Little insert. Oh yeah, fun fact. They hired a short person to do this, and they called him Ronnie James Dio because he was short and Ozzy was feuding with him. But I mean, let me look at me. All that crap you hear about Ozzy Osbourne and Dio is kind of made up. I mean, it's still true, but it's they didn't pay each other's guts. I mean, they did, but it was they talk to each other. You're the only proof I have. Just trust me. But anyways, yeah, it's the booklet. I mean, for me, I probably will have to get myself some Ozzy Osbourne merch. I mean, I don't know. This is it's 20 years old. Yeah, whatever. And here we got the actual CD. Pretty cool. I don't have the record. I could have bought it, but I'm awfully poor. Oh, by the way, here's the setup we have right now. We have backup computer, what I'm recording with, a light. That's it. Recording this. I mean, as I said before, the track listing is quite fire. I've probably done this the entire thing, but here it is in order. And now going on to more bonus content. So to start, the tour. There was a tour for this album. And it went on from, I believe, November of 82 to the summer of 83. And here are the general, a set list. Members changed. Brad Gillis left, and then they brought in one of my favorite guitarists of all time. There was no arguing about it. Jake E. Lee. He brought him in, and then he stuck around, and then he got fired. Moving on after that, I mean, you can look around. There's recordings. I mean, of course, yeah. There's going to be bootleg recordings of Ozzy on tour around this time. And there's even a video concert, unofficial, but still. If you look around hard enough, of course, you can find bootleg recordings and video footage. Because remember, we are currently in the year 2025. You can do that stuff. Anyways, I could probably salvage more of the script, but I'm not because I'm tired and I need to edit this. So, going on to the real deal outro right now. Whoa, you made it to the end of the video. I mean, for me, like I've been telling myself for like almost months now that I will get back to video creation because I mean, truthfully, I've loved it for what I was, what it was. I mean, I took quite the break, but I don't know. I really want to return to it. I mean, as I said before, I have a whole bunch of scripts, and I guess with a few people like being like my like reviewers, like kind of like I guess like support in a way to like keep me on track and not like get too ambitious. Because after all, these are just silly little YouTube videos I make talking about whatever I want or whatever like the video's about, and not like I don't know like a I forget it's not like a freaking Star Wars movies with like millions and millions of dollars poured into it. I think the most I ever spent for a video, interestingly enough, was like $5, and even then, that was just for like yogurt and milk. You should watch that video, by the way. But anyways, I've been really thinking about making more reviews in general. Like, I want to talk about an album that I quite like and is an oddity, one could say. And interestingly enough, I want to say before this video project or like this project I had for school, I did have this video idea script kind of like made. It was completed. I just never got to it. But anyways, I will go to the normal outro stuff now. Because hopefully, I really mean it when I say I will see you soon.